Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another special ranking night. Tonight, I will be counting down my picks for the top 10 lesser-known Sylvester Stallone films. Now for this list, you will be getting a lot of the films that I did not include on my regular Sylvester Stallone list, which you can see on the link above. But without further ado, let's begin this list. Coming in at number 10, we have Farewell, My Lovely, released in 1975, directed by Dick Richards, and starring Robert Mitchum and Charlotte Rampling. Now this one, Stallone has a very, very small role, hence the reason why I put it this low on the list. This is a very interesting Philip Marlowe detective film starring Robert Mitchum, but it's not a very good film just for watching, just to see Stallone in it. He does get that moment where he gets to kill this crazy lady in there, but other than that, he's not given much to do in this one. That's why it makes the lowest part of my list. All right, so coming in at number 9, we have Rhinestone, released in 1984, directed by Bob Clark, starring Dolly Parton and Richard Farnsworth. Now, this one, I remember back when I was a kid, I really, really loved this film because I loved Stallone and I really loved Dolly Parton. This was, just after her doing 9 to 5, which I love that movie. So seeing her with Stallone in this little novelty of a film, it was a fun film. Looking back on it today with modern eyes, on it, it's not that great of a film, but I do not think it's as bad a film as a lot of people talk about it today as being. It is still a highly entertaining and fun film to watch if you're in the mood for it. I'd rather watch this film than I would ever want to ever watch Oscar or Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. All right, so coming in at number 8, we have No Place to Hide, released in 1973, directed by Robert Schnitzer. And it co-stars Anthony Page and Rebecca Grimes. And this one went by many titles after Stallone became popular. It was re-released as Rebel, and more recently it was released as Rainbow. And it was made into a comedy, which is really weird. I'm glad I haven't seen that version of it, but this isn't a bad film for Stallone in this one. I mean, he plays pretty good in most of this film. His performance is not bad. This shows you that he could have commanded a film and led a film before he even got the opportunity with Rocky, because this film was many years before that. So he is basically the lead of this film, and he commands the film pretty well for being this unknown at the time. So the rest of the cast in this is so-so. They're okay. And there is this awkward sequence in which this one girl tries to seduce Stallone into having sex with her. And the seduction scene, she does a belly dance to try and lure him in. And it's like, what in the hell? That was a little weird. And then the end of the film really does show some acting talent for Stallone, because a tragic thing happens and his emotions in that scene are pretty damn good. All right, so coming in at number 7, we have Paradise Alley, released in 1978, directed by Sylvester Stallone. Now, this one co-stars Kevin Conway and Ann Archer. And this one, to me, I like the film, but it could have been so much better. This is, follows early days of professional wrestling, and it has a lot of actual pro wrestlers appearing in the film throughout it, which is pretty cool. But the overall story in it, I'm not really enamored with. I don't really like the whole story to it, and some of the performances are a little wonky in there, even Stallone's, if I'm going to be honest. But I had to put it above some of these other ones just because Ann Archer being in it. I mean, she is just so lovely. But the rest of the film is it's fine, serviceable. All right, so let's move on to number 6, and number 6 for me is F.I.S.T., released in 1978, directed by Norman Jewison, and it co-stars Rod Steiger and Peter Boyle. Now, this is almost like a unofficial version of a telling of Jimmy Hoffa in a way. And Stallone gives a pretty good performance in here. And it was him trying to do something different, something that he would do later in his career with Copland as well. But F.I.S.T. to me is better than Copland ever was, just because of the union worker kind of thing that he bands together in this storyline. And the supporting cast is great with Steiger and Boyle in there. They are just excellent in their roles. So even though it does get a little boring at little points in there, it's still a fairly excellent film. Well directed and well put together. All right, so coming in at number 5 is Death Race 2000, released in 1975, directed by Paul Bartel, and starring David Carradine and Simone Griffith. Now, this is a very rare occasion where Stallone is playing the villain. And he is very, very good at playing this villain. He's playing it over the top, and he's just having a ball playing this character in here. The lead and the hero of the story is David Carradine, which is, just so interesting to see Stallone playing the villain against David Carradine as the hero in there. And Simone Griffith in here is very attractive in her role. Now, this was one of the few that Stallone had done with Roger Corman. It just proves that, Stallone had some stuff going on prior to Rocky making him the big star. All right, so coming in at number 4, we have The Lords of Flatbush from 1974, directed by Martin Davidson and Stephen F. Verona. Now, this one co-stars Perry King and Henry Winkler. And this is, much like some of these other films that were prior to Rocky, prior to him becoming a name, it just shows that he was very talented, not just on screen, but off as a writer and everything, because he did a little bit of writing on this one for dialogue on this. So, and Lords of Flatbush is a very interesting and, well-made, well-directed, well-acted film. And basically it led to Henry Winkler going on to play as the Fonz in Happy Days. So, but very, very good film. And hence the reason why it makes my number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Escape to Victory, released in 1981, directed by John Huston, and starring Michael Caine and Max von Sydow. Now in this one, Stallone is playing alongside a great actor with Michael Caine. And of course he would play with him again in the remake of Get Carter, but this is highly superior to that film. I wasn't a fan of that remake, to be honest. But Michael Caine and him working together in this film is excellent. Max von Sydow is great in his role as well. And since it's a soccer movie, aka football movie, depending on where you're from, they have an actual player in here. One of the most famous players in here, of course, with Pele playing in this. And it is very well done, well structured, well put together, and excellently directed by John Huston. So it had to be on my list. Coming in at number 2, we have Capone, released in 1975, directed by Steve Carver, and starring Ben Gazzara and Susan Blakely. In this one, Stallone plays the enforcer to Ben Gazzara's Al Capone, Frank Nitti. And his portrayal of this character is pretty damn good. I liked him throughout it. He did a good job playing the character. And it's a pretty prominent role. He is fourth billed in this thing. So it is not like he's just playing a small little bit part in this one, unlike Farewell, My Lovely, which started this list as number 10. Capone is another one of those films that Stallone did for Roger Corman. And to me, it is the better film out of the two. That's why it's higher on this list than Death Race 2000. Now, he did work on other Roger Corman films, but that was only in little bit parts in them. He didn't play an actual leading role in those, so that's why I didn't include those on this list. But yes, Capone, if you have not seen it, you need to see it. It is very well done. If not just to see Ben Gazzara's excellent performance as Capone. All right, so coming in at number 1 on this list is Lockup. Released in 1989, directed by John Finn, and starring Donald Sutherland, John Amos, and Tom Sizemore. Now, this one is, I know some of you might look at it and go, that's not a lesser known film. That's, to you it might be. To me, I never hear anyone ever give any respect or speak of Lockup anymore today. It is just under the radar, unfortunately, to me. And for that reason, whenever I put this list together, I knew I had to put this one at the top, because to me, this is one of his greatest films that never got the attention it deserved. Stallone is excellent in his portrayal of his character in this, and Donald Sutherland is great as the villain in this. A little over the top at points, but still Donald Sutherland is great in this film. And then you got excellent supporting characters with John Amos and Tom Sizemore in here, and it's just, I went to the movies and saw this in the theaters, and I could not believe that it did not become a hit for Stallone. I think it should have, but it didn't. And now, like I said today, it is pretty much forgotten. But what do you think of my list? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below what you would put as a list of the lesser known Stallone films. Would it be different than mine? Probably would. But be respectful and give me your list down in the comments area. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. As a Dark Knight Fan Plus member, you have access to an area on the channel right now where you can request a movie, TV series, or ranking video of your choosing. And when that video goes live, it will go up for all Plus members to view prior to it becoming available for other members. So if you want to get interactive and submit new reviews for me to do on the channel, become a member. And if you missed last week's ranking video, check out the link above. And if you missed any of our other ranking videos, check out this playlist and get caught up.